Welcome to Evolve Point, everybody. The second episode since our grand return. I'm Igni. I'm a Shadowverse esports commentator and content creator. With me today, as always, I have Lord Kalen, the moderator for the Shadowverse Reddit.
Yeah, and did you know that bananas rotate?
And Tonko, otherwise known as Such Patonko, a Shadowverse streamer who specializes in portal craft.
Banana, rotate, E.
Why? I need to get new hosts ASAP. This is what have you guys been up to the past week?
I picked up Elden Ring again, been doing another playthrough to prepare for the DLC coming out next month.
We don't even know when the DLC is coming out.
Next month? What?
There's been all sorts of leaks saying the DLC is coming out next month.
If that's true, I gotta open Elden Ring again too.
Speaking of reinstalling, dude, Blue Archive is... The new banner just came out today with one of my favorite girls, and every single time for the past like 5 banners I've had to spark, I'm already halfway through the sparking.
I was watching a stream earlier and you kept saying, like, I only play gacha games now. I don't have time to play any real games. I mean, like, this is a lifestyle you chose. You could just play a real game.
I put myself in this situation. I just don't exactly have the energy or patience to do like full-scale games as frequently anymore.
How did your GP go? Your Rotation Cup play?
Well, rotation was fine. I was struggling with playing Forest Craft because, you know, Portal Craft is poopy diapers, so I was trying to play a different class for once. It's really good, but it takes so much effort. But in the last minute, I chose to bring Enhanced Portal after all.
Is that after I
go back to my roots? I'm pretty sure, yeah. I was like, fine, I'll give it another shot. I have nothing else to play anyway. I don't remember if I said this last week, but Enhanced Portal is actually really good against Dragon. Dragon is super popular right now in rotation because it's the easiest class to play, but you are unaffected by Vor because when you get your costs increased, you can still use your enhancers like normal, so they don't really disrupt you, and you have enough removal to clear the dragon board, and you have protection to not die. I fought against 2 dragons, just annihilated them. I fought against Last Word Shadow and banished like 2 Alices, which felt amazing. Then I lost the artifact portal.
Your own brethren.
Trust no one, not even yourself.
I also went 3-2. I played Iris Control. I was like, this deck is so good for the first 3 games. And then the last 2, I got humbled by, I think, Castell as well.
That was me with Enhance. It's like they get you in the first half.
I got blown the F out. 0-2 in the finals, both games against Aggro Blood. I was playing Gambling Dragon.
That makes a lot of sense, Kalen.
Some flavor of Aggro Blood.
Aggro Blood does kind of counter Ramp Dragon if you don't high roll.
It's embarrassing. My total record for this GP across 10 total runs, 22 wins. All right, 25 losses.
Oof.
Ooh. Brutal.
Well, we're going to talk about this in a bit, but the UL GP started as well. And have you guys jumped into that yet?
Yeah, I've done 2 runs, but I don't have any up-to-date modern unlimited decks. Not that that really is something that exists. So I've just been playing Handless Blood, and I'm 3 wins and 7 losses.
Oof.
Yeah, not having a great time.
I brought an Evolve Dragon deck that I invented, and I went 3-2, and I'm like, that's pretty good, actually.
Bros, don't even get me started. They unrestricted Casa Mimosa. They don't do anything. Portal doesn't do anything.
Unfortunately, Resonance is still worse than Artifact. So
I've tried several different builds for Unlimited. I just gave up. Like, because the reason why, sure, I was playing some goofy meme decks like Calamity. Like, who cares? Of course, Calamity was going to lose, obviously. But the reason why I just gave up on Unlimited entirely is because of Haven. Everybody's playing Haven now, whether it be Civ Gold with Yatalan or Seraph or Unario, and it just stops anything I try to do. So
Haven's king of Unlimited right now.
Maybe it's time for you to try other card games like I'm doing right now.
Maybe it's time for me to try other card games like Shadowverse Evolve.
Yeah, Shadowverse Evolve. Yeah. Make sure to try it out at your local card game store. I'm an ambassador, by the way, so I'm biased. Let's move on, shall we, to the news. You guys seem really down because of your horrible GP runs, but friggin' cheer up, okay? We got news to get through.
No, I'm down because of my Blue Archive pulls, bro. I didn't even pull a single 3-star out of 120 rolls.
All right. So the Resurgent Rotation Cup winning decks have been added, speaking of the GP. For Forest, we got Castell, Magachio, Iris. That checks out. For Sword, we have Rally and Loot both winning. For Rune, we have Golem Boost, Sephi, and still Mysteria.
What does that mean?
For Dragon, we got Big and Buff. For Shadow, Helio, Last Words, and Burial, all right? For Blood, Aggro, and under 10.
Okay, yeah, sure.
And for Haven, Heal, Big, and Unariel 1, and for Portal, Artifact, Machina, and Evolve 1. So if you needed proof that winning the cup does not mean your deck is good.
I'm pretty sure they're taking the one and only Mysteria win and just highlighting it as an archetype.
Also, we were talking about this just now. Resurgent Unlimited Cup started. The first stage ends soon on noon 24th Pacific time. We talked about our experiences with that already. You can't hide your distaste.
Let me rant a little bit further.
Here we
I
go.
have been
hour-long podcast. Here we go.
I have been somewhat of an Unlimited sympathizer for years, right? There's so many people who just refuse to touch Unlimited because like, oh, it's too broken. It's like, oh, decks just win on turn 4. But there are occasional times of brilliance where sometimes Unlimited format can actually be healthier or even have more diversity compared to rotation. Like last expansion, it was just a 2-deck format in rotation, whereas in Unlimited, there was Blood, there was Barelites, there was Earthlight, there was Haven and all that. This time though,
it's the other way around. Rotation is so much more.
You've lost my sympathy.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
It's just every craft has a deck that will kill you really early.
I mean, that's just always been the case in Unlimited. Or you control all the way to the end with like repose and stuff like that. Hasn't that always been the case?
Yeah, Heal Haven.
Make sure to do your first stage before it ends. Also, we have limited time story missions ending soon. Clear all those Whisper of Purgation chapters before noon on the 24th Pacific time for 3 Resurgent Legends packs. Have you guys done that yet?
Nope.
I have not.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Usually I try to stream my story playthroughs, but I just haven't had the time to do so. I was going to do the same thing you said, skip through the whole story just to get packs and then go back to stream it later on, but I forgot. And I'm probably gonna forget again this time.
I'll definitely do it tomorrow.
Now we also have an upcoming maintenance patch. This is pretty much hot off the presses. On the 24th at 5:30 p.m. At 5:30. What? I can't speak English all of a sudden. At 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. Dark Alice Foul Fairy Tale, the Evolve visual effects are changed to improve game flow, so probably it's just going to go faster. And also Poisoned Apple of Revival. The VFX is changed to be the same regardless of what follower is summoned, also to make the game go faster. And also the Vial bonus for Arcane Instruction and Ginger Raging Word from the previous nerf is ending. So if you still have extras of those cards, make sure to vial them now.
I vialed all of my Arcane Instructions and got exactly 1 legendary from it.
That's good.
Nice. Did they need to buff the animations for Last Word Shadow? I didn't think the combos were so long or complex that you had to worry about the timer for Last Words. I think it's just a skill issue.
Well, it's not only
it
that,
is a skill issue,
but it's also like, you know, your opponent doesn't have to sit there hearing the Alice voice line 12,000 times.
Well, that's their problem, not mine.
When I beat the game, Lamau.
You're talking from the perspective of a Last Words player here, bullying other people with your animation.
when I think of like, you know, changing animations to improve game flow, I'm reminded of Spinara's Artifact, where it had like this whole animation of it dropping down. Yeah. It was Spinari, it's my favorite. It's my friend. But the reason why they improved that, the reason why they sped that up is because it was Artifacts. Like, that's an 8 p.m. deck where you had to play like 30 cards in one single turn, which makes sense to buff that.
Well, I don't know.
I feel like Dark Alice isn't as demanding.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a good change, though. Like, I don't want to sit there for 12 years watching the VFX resolve.
It's harmless. I just like Dark Alice, so I like her animation.
Wow.
So.
If it was a card you didn't like, you'd have been like, remove the animation entirely.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I respect that you're upfront about it. Let's get into the esports news. There's quite a bit, all right? Most pertinent to me as a caster for SVO. The SVO 2024 official season announcement went live. We got 4 SVO minis that's revealed last year. First one is going to be on February 10. It's going to be a 5-round Swiss with no regional restriction. Anyone who completes 5 rounds enters a raffle for physical prizes, including the stuff from last year, which is like Luna Pillow, physical cards, I think a hat, and there's some other stuff as well. And there's also some extra goodies for 2024, which includes exclusive custom playmats of fan favorite Shadowverse characters, which is pretty cool. And if you go 5-0, you get the prize automatically. It's no longer a raffle.
Just to clarify for listeners, when we say Luna Pillow, it's not that kind of pillow.
No. It's like a couch cushion. It's like a couch cushion.
Yeah, it's a cushion.
All right, okay,
with
relax.
Luna just slapped on there.
Very big news. They revealed that the June SVO tournament, we're only going to have 1 tournament for the rest of Shadowverse 1, but that 1 tournament comes out right before Worlds Beyond, and whoever wins it gets a 2025 World Champion slot. The final tournament for SV1 qualifies you to the Worlds Beyond first World Championship.
That's kind of funny because Worlds Beyond is a whole separate game. So imagine if somehow the winner of this SVO just happens to have a bad time in the whole separate new game. What if the winner is a Shadow and Blood main? It's like,
Oh,
now
no.
I have to find a different deck.
Yeah, now I have to play freaking Sword.
I have to find something else to main.
No, but I think it's a really cool idea to like, you know, go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like it actually matters. Like you winning the last tournament for a dead game actually still matters.
That's what I was
nice.
baffled about during the roadmap, man, when they were like, oh, we only get one SVO this year. And I'm like, how does that work? But now we know. Now it's a no holds barred, the highest possible stakes one-off tournament to end the game.
Also, for those who don't know, like SVO Mini is a lot more casual compared to the standard SVOs. Like it's designed to be approachable for all players. Even I participate in SVO Mini, and I never participate in tournaments.
It's basically like an accessible practice tournament to get you prepped for the like sort of environment and processes of playing a tournament, so that when a real tournament comes along, you have like less like stress about what to do, what the logistics are. You kind of are prepared for it. So it's pretty nice to play in, and it's fun to just play competitive sets against other good players because it improves your skills too. So yeah, if you want to enter those SVO minis, remember the first one is on February 10th.
And tournaments are stressful. You want to have that practice. This
Yeah.
doesn't have like a big prize cash pool the way that standard SVOs do, but it's still worth giving a shot.
What do you mean? Luna Pillow.
Luna Pillow? Not that kind of pillow.
Exclusive play, man. Maybe they'll put freaking Zernitra on it.
Did they have an example of what kind of playmat? Like,
No, they
or
said
they just say fan favorite.
they said fan favorite characters, more details soon.
Dude, I have so many playmats. I own like 50 playmats.
Get a
Get a 51st.
Get a Artifact Rhino playmat. It's
Oh, dude.
time. Next up, we got the Raid Shadowverse 2024 Spring Day 2 Preliminaries. Whoever qualifies in this tournament goes to Grand Finals in March. Sadly, it was scheduled on the same day as the first Unlimited JCG in a long time. I bet you it took a bunch of players away from the JCG Unlimited because they were playing Rage instead. Unlimited getting shafted yet again. Here are the qualifying decks for Grands. We got 4 Castels, 6 Transmutes, 3 Buff Dragons, 1 Golem Boost, 1 Magachio, 1 Machina Portal, no Big Dragon. And that makes me mad because I lost all my sets in day 1 to Big Dragon, only for it to not exist
Skill
1 week
issue.
later.
Actual skill issue.
Because you were talking about Tonko Enhanced being good against Big Dragon, but I have bad news for you. Everybody's moved on to Buff again because they
Yeah,
found
that's true.
they found out that Heaven Scale Dragon, the 5 cost, is actually really insanely strong. It doesn't surprise me that there are 6 Transmute Shadows, or Helio Shadows rather. What does surprise me is that 1 Machina Portal making it through. What do we think of that?
I'm mad that Machina Portal won because that means I have to go back and play Machina.
You have to do it again.
I every time it just drags me back. It's like there's no Portalcraft decks that are viable. Just like I guess I gotta play Machina again.
Buff Dragon's been effectively the main dragon deck for the last 3 years since Rovale.
Tired of going back to it now.
Yeah, that's why I like Big Dragon. It's a more traditional dragon deck, as
But
I
it's-
said last week.
It's gone, baby.
I enjoy Buff as a player style. It's just sometimes it feels like it's the only archetype they bother supporting for Dragon.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I mean, the new Lucky Mermaid is really, really good. The fact that it can buff stuff in hand really unbricks you a lot of the time. It adds so much consistency. Makes a lot of sense. By the way, I was super ahead of the curve bringing Golem Boost to day 1 of Rage, because literally the week after, everybody started bringing Golem Boost. So I also brought Control Forest, which, we'll talk about this now, won the 17th January JCG Shadowverse Open. Control Forest and Buff Dragon won. Dude, I'm literally from the freaking future. I'm Marty McFly over here. Also on the 19th rotation, Castel Forest and Helio won. But I want to say that in 2nd place and 3rd place, there were Buff in the lineups, so showing the rise of Buff there. On the 20th JCG Take Two, the winner picked Blood 3 times, which is not typical. The most picked class was Sword. So the winner picked Blood 3 times, Sword 2 times, Forest once, and Portal once. So maybe Blood is way better in Take Two than we thought. On the 21st, the Unlimited event was held. And now this is the first Unlimited event in JCG for a while. Again, Unlimited not getting a whole lot of spotlight in competitive.
I didn't even know we had an unlimited JCG.
Yes, exactly. We'll talk about that. That's the main topic. You've seen the title. First place, we got Earthright Rune and Artifact Portal. Let's
Yeah,
go.
sure, buddy. Okay.
Tongo,
Me
you-
struggling playing Portal crap
You
for
got
like
another.
2 weeks.
You got another deck to play, Tonko.
Artifact does work well against the 2nd place decks though.
In 2nd place, we got Hozumi and D-Shift. D-Shift is a bit of a surprise because I feel like a lot of people drop D-Shift.
Yeah, it's very uncommon just on day-to-day ladder nowadays.
D-Shift
Hozumi,
is
however,
almost
there are
too fair
multiple
now.
variants.
It seems like everybody has dropped D-Shift for Earthright at this point.
Hozumi can have at least 3 different ways of dropping the Hozumi, getting a board out, and then killing you, whether it be Oberon or the traditional Cynthia variant. Hozumi's very, very versatile now.
Yeah, especially since a lot of these big boys now also have accelerate effects that you can use, like Durga, for example. And finally, third, fourth place, we got Earthright Burial Rite and Earthright Helio. Helio! Even in Unlimited, Helio! Ruining the meta!
Unlimited? What does that even mean?
You get 7/7 Flamin' Glass. So it's literally just Helio in rotation, but you get a higher stat guy.
Compared to the other stuff in Unlimited, I guess there is that one drop, though. There is a one drop that has Reanimate 4.
Yes, Shao. Shao can reanimate Helio for 1 cost.
I guess that's okay.
It's actually pretty sick. One community member that we know, LZ Cleric, posted a screenshot where they got a turn 5 like 6,000 damage with their Flamin' Glasses and Helio. So I guess it's something. We gotta keep an eye out for that.
LZ Cleric is one of the only pure, like, actual Unlimited mains. So
yeah. That's why I brought him on to tell me if the nerf would do anything or if the unnerf would do anything that one time. Now we're moving on to the main topic, y'all. And we've been sort of lampshading this. Taco didn't even know there was an Unlimited event happening. The Unlimited event was held at the same day as Rage Day 2. Excuse me. I want to talk about Unlimited and its place in Shadowverse 1. Like, historically, now that we're moving into Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Does it have a place in Worlds Beyond? Would it have been better if they treated Unlimited differently? So, as the game is nearing content completeness with only 1 set left, Unlimited has, throughout its lifespan, been kind of relegated as a secondary format, which I think a lot of games do. Half the cards in the new set don't even work in Unlimited with the Resurgent cards. So how do we feel about like this sort of sidelining compared to the rotation format, like throughout the history of the game?
Deserved. I hope Unlimited burns.
Ooh, spicy.
I thought, Taco, you've been playing so much Unlimited recently, I thought I was gonna get a nuanced view, a good conversation.
Okay, but like, but in terms of historically, like I mentioned before, typically Unlimited gets a bad rep because it is a much more imbalanced format compared to rotation. Or at least it is a bit overwhelming because of all the old cards combining with the new cards make really broken combos, yada yada yada. I've typically had the opinion that Unlimited is a bit overhated. If you sit down and really engage yourself in the format, there's a lot of stuff that you could enjoy that you just don't see in rotation, because for some people they enjoy that extra level of complexity. The speed is like overwhelming. They like the deck building. Unlimited to me feels like it has a similar appeal as Yu-Gi-Oh! In the sense that it is total bullshit. But that's why you play it, is because it's bullshit that you don't get anywhere else.
I hear you.
Complete crapshoot.
It's definitely a different vibe than rotation. The experience feels more like this is what's intended, whereas Unlimited is like, how can I break the game as much as possible? But I wanted to compare this with other games and their rotation systems, right? So like, for example, correct me if I'm wrong, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like there is no rotation. They just have a long, extensive ban list.
Yep. Yeah, in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's just one single format and they do a ban list that gets updated very frequently. A lot of card games have some kind of rotation format as well as an expanded format with a wider pool of cards, like Pokemon does that, for example.
Or for example, Magic the Gathering with Standard and Modern, right? Modern has a huge pool of cards, and many people in Magic the Gathering's community prefer Modern to Standard because of the complexity it offers. Correct me if I'm wrong, MTG players in the comments, but like it feels like Modern is like a big deal in Magic the Gathering, whereas Unlimited in Shadowverse, like I said, it feels like it's been sidelined.
Card 5 Vanguard, they don't really have rotation. They have reboots. Vanguard has gone through like 2 reboots now, but they have a premium format that is basically unlimited, where it combines all the different versions of Vanguard into one. But the problem that a lot of these games have is that when you have different formats like that, it's very difficult for the developers or a company to pay attention and keep those formats not only balanced, but also it's difficult for them to support those formats because most people are just gonna play the standard format because it's the default, it's the most accessible.
I hate to bring up MTG again as a guy who doesn't even play it, but for example, in that game, there's a fan-made format called Commander that became so popular, started printing official packs and like boxes for Commander and supporting that format until it became almost as big as the regular game. So like, I wonder if it's just like an issue of execution of how you can balance different formats together.
So I play a lot of card games, so I can compare Unlimited to a lot of different card games. For Card Fight Vanguard, they've been struggling to balance out so many different formats because there's standard format, there's V format, which is like the first reboots, and then there's Unlimited format with everything. So they have these 3 different formats that they try to do tournaments for all 3 formats, but it's really difficult to get players to participate in different formats. And the reason why is because 1, it's a whole different card pool, it's more stuff that they have to collect and test out, and 2, it's more time. Like trying to get people to put in the time into a separate version of a game, even if that format is healthy, it's still difficult for those alternate formats to get the kind of attention that standard does. So it just kind of makes sense to concentrate your efforts into the one standard format and sideline the others.
Do you think that Shadowverse even tried? That sounds bad if I say it like that.
Well,
that's
there
the
were
thing,
definitely
though.
balanced patches that were exclusive for Unlimited, nerfs that only applied to the Unlimited format. And even something as simple as the fact that Shadowverse had Unlimited Grand Prix throughout the entire lifespan of the Grand Prix format. That is support for Unlimited. That's a good place for people to try out new decks and force rotation players to actually try Unlimited, which a lot just don't, and that's for a multitude of reasons. Unlimited has a higher skill ceiling because there's so much more variance. A new player is going to look at Unlimited, see it's more expensive, see it's harder to get into, and the skill ceiling's higher and just not play it. But the GP comes around, the GP rewards are amazing. A run a day is free, so people are going to try it. I think that is the support that Cygames were giving it, and it's more than other games give their Unlimited formats.
Yeah.
Hearthstone does not support its Unlimited format at all.
That's true. Wild is sort of left to languish. And like I'm talking about, Unlimited has been sidelined a bit in the past, but like you said, the GPs are a huge way to get players in, and at least it's not freaking Open 6, which nobody even talks about. So.
Oh man, I love Open 6. It's just not fun.
In Card Fight Vanguard, they have tournaments, they have regionals for V Premium and Premium format, but they don't even have regular tournaments for those most of the time. Japan doesn't even support those alternate formats at all.
So would you say that Shadowverse actually supports Unlimited more than you would expect them to?
It's better than nothing.
I don't want to be revising history here because I remember very much the community sentiment around Unlimited saying like, we're going years without balance patches, nothing's going on in this format. The same decks are meta for like 5 years in a row. So
I think that Cygames should have put down the hammer and banned a couple of cards from each class very early on and made Unlimited a better place by just removing the cards that limit design space. D-Shift isn't really a problem now, but it spent 6 years as the single best deck in Unlimited.
Floros?
D-Shift should have been banned.
They have been putting a bit more effort into balancing Unlimited in the recent years because they finally banned augmentation,
or like that
after
huge
all these years,
or like that huge wave of unnerfs as well, right?
And
the unnerfing State of Gold, that was nice.
Tongo's still mad.
There are other ways to balance a format than just nerfing cards or printing cards. You can also simply not print cards. Resurgent cards not being available in Unlimited makes Unlimited a better place.
Oh, so you're taking the opposite perspective here.
Be
because I was talking to LZ Cleric and he was pissed that Resurgent cards didn't work in Unlimited because he, as an Unlimited guy, sort of felt like half the set wasn't available to
play
him.
Those cards.
Right, yeah.
It does make sense from that perspective. If you're an Unlimited only player, what's the point of opening Resurgent Legends packs when half the cards are unusable? You'd rather just craft them.
But at the same time, you're saying that these cards would have broken Unlimited if they were printed in that format, right?
I do think a lot of the Resurgent cards would have broken Unlimited.
I actually do have a similar opinion. I think Resurgent cards should be cards that cannot exist in Unlimited in any capacity.
Unlimited does have a lower player base. than rotation. Do you think it's a chicken and egg situation of like how much unlimited is being propped up versus how many people are playing it? Or do you think it was always going to have less?
It was always going to have less. Even if they had a 50-50 split, they were going to support unlimited less than rotation.
But like the lack of balance patches over the past 5 years and only recently in like the past year or two, that lack of support, would that not have like changed the unlimited meta enough to like
if they had introduced those nerfs sooner, people would not have given up on unlimited.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure if I'm revising history here, but I feel like unlimited was still relatively popular even compared to rotation, maybe like 4 years ago or so. Because I remember there was a time where people used to recommend new players to start off in unlimited because the decks were cheaper and more accessible for unlimited at the time.
That did not last.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like I remember that lasting for a while though. But obviously, power kept creeping, lack of patches to balance things out, and obviously that opinion changed.
I mean, obviously we could never know. It's like a freaking Ghost of Christmas Past situation, but if they did introduce balance patches more frequently for the format when the entire unlimited community, at least from what I saw, I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but like on Reddit and Twitter and all those things, we're saying like, why is there no patch? Like there's clearly a tier 0 deck, or there's clearly like only 2 tier 1 decks. Like why is there no patch for unlimited? If that support was there, maybe we would live in a world where there was a more even split between the two formats. This is sort of the thesis that I'm proposing.
The advantage that Shadowverse has compared to Magic the Gathering or Card 5 Vanguard and their expanded formats is that it's a digital game where people don't spend real money on cards and they don't have to physically travel to tournaments. They just play tournaments in the app. Therefore, it's so much easier for them to make changes in a digital TCG compared to most others. There's logistics to card balance, I get that, but because the data is so accessible for side games, I feel like there's no excuse to spend like waiting 5 years to finally hit Artifact or Blood.
But at the same time, side games can look at Artifact and see, sure, it's an insane deck that had the capability of getting an actual OTK on turn 3 or 4, but they might also be able to see that the deck only has a 40% win rate or something along those lines, and an even lower play rate.
For all I know, maybe they didn't make any patch updates. Maybe they didn't have data to work with because they don't have enough data because there's not enough players in Unlimited.
It's definitely at least, I'd put it around 30,000 master rank players in Unlimited, at least this year. There are more than 200,000 master ranked people that play rotation every month.
Well, I guess this leads into my next point here. Like, the state of Unlimited is what it is. They decided not to support it for a while, and it's sort of become a smaller format. Should they have supported it more?
I do think it was always intended to be just a side thing the entire time. But like, it's really not that difficult for them to support, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I think the data is just so obvious.
I want to say that I don't think all balance changes should be formed solely off of data. Like sometimes player experience also matters.
Sometimes you can just feel that it's wrong to die to a Hozumi on turn 4.
I mean, I think that data is important. I'm not saying like, oh, I should only go by vibes, you know, but like we're not like robots, you know. There's things that feel good and things that feel bad. So that's also a factor that you should take into account. I feel like the lack of patches for that period of time, and weirdly enough, supporting it now near the end of the game's lifespan. You know, despite the Resurgent cards not working in UL, but that recent unnerf wave, for example, or banning augmentation, like it is kind of curious why they would suddenly decide to do such a thing right before Worlds Beyond comes out.
Wasn't UL also part of Rage tournaments or WGP as well too?
WGP is now only Rotation and Take Two, I think.
But like, wasn't Unlimited part of the lineup as well too at that point? Unlimited was part of a lineup of games, and then they took it out at some point.
Yeah, and even like I said, the JCG Unlimited tournament's been the first one in a while. They run Take Two more often than they run Unlimited, I'm pretty sure, in JCG.
I didn't even know they still had Take Two.
That's brutal.
I mean, Take Two is important to practice because it's in World Grand Prix. We know it's in World Grand Prix. There you go. It's even more of a case for the lack of support, right? But I mean, it is what it is, even though the Grand Prix are nice, and it is nice that recently they're doing more. Unfortunately, it might have been too little too late. Now, I want to close out the main topic with the question of, in Worlds Beyond, would you want them to introduce Unlimited again, or would you rather have a different type of rotation or non-rotation system?
I would hope that because they're building the game from the ground up, I'd like to believe that they would design the game in a way where it wouldn't need an unlimited format because Shadowverse Evolve is just the one format. There is no rotation in Evolve, and it works out just fine. The balance is very sparse as well too. It's very tiny.
It's an incredibly well balanced game. There was that one time where that horse girl thing happened, but after that, like, it's been pretty good. I kind of agree with you, honestly. I would like them to not have an unlimited format in Worlds Beyond.
I think I can also agree with that. A rigorous, actually well-maintained ban list with the entire card pool will probably end up with a healthier game.
Not only that, but you don't fragment the player base. You don't have this issue of like having a format that's unsupported and having a community that is within that format start resenting your team. You know, like that's a thing.
And if they're gonna have an unlimited format, actually try with it, I guess.
Yeah.
If they do end up with an unlimited format again, don't let it fester. It's okay for it to be Yu-Gi-Oh bullshit, but don't let it fester where people just give up on it, you know?
That's our topic. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know. Yeah, this is my podcast. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about our thoughts on this, and what are your thoughts on Unlimited? Are we completely off base? Speaking about comments, every week we have a weekly question on Evolve Point to close out this show, and last week I asked you, what card do you want them to resurge the most and why? Before I get into the viewer responses, I thought I'd ask our hosts here, what card do you want them to resurge the most?
We established that Resurgent cards are a good idea for cards that literally can't exist in Unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Therefore, I want Resurgent Augmentation.
Oh, God. What? You're evil.
You're like...
You gotta do something. You gotta do something to make Artifact playable.
You're like...
That's Immutation.
Agile? I hate you. Get out of here.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah.
That hurt my feelings. You didn't need to say that.
Okay, Kaylin, what's your card then?
Can I cheat and say 7?
You can say
different
one.
cards?
You can say pick one.
Ouroboros, one of my all-time favorite dragon cards.
Relic Dragon is already kind of like Ouroboros.
Yeah, but not close enough. I just want Ouroboros back. I want it back.
Yeah,
I had some spicy picks for Forest and Sword and Shadow, but you don't want to hear them.
Why don't you post them in the comments below this video, Kaylin, and then you can post your damn essay and people can be forced to read it. Here we got a few. Over on Twitter, M. Khalil ESA writes, Daria, rotation spell boost hurts right now. She's iconic, and even now I think her OG effect is full Timmy neuron activation endorphin rush. Also, she's a cute witch linked to D-Shift.
I do agree. As bad as a PTSD for Daria is, I do agree with that sentiment.
Also, the one retrain we had of Daria sucked so bad. So
yeah,
we got one. I thought we got.
You only got one.
Yeah, we got one, and it was
real.
Bad. So you know what, Khalil? I agree with you. Bring Daria back. Let me boost. Boosting is fun, all right? And you know, like you said, Tonko, it's cards that can't exist in Unlimited. We don't want to support Shift anymore, since it apparently is good again, getting second in the tournament, right? So yeah, put it in rotation.
Spell boost is so weird right now. I don't understand this hybrid golem stuff, dude. I want pure spell boost. Well, okay, I don't want it, but
my brain is not big enough for Rune. That's why I was a chess player.
We also got.
Can we get Resurgent chess?
No. Dude, Chess just left. Why do you want it back already?
I want it back now.
Chess still has 3 cards in rotation.
But they're bad.
At Tiago_FL_460 writes, Ektar, the card that single-handedly carried the class, and it's arguably one of the most iconic legendaries in the early expansions. Still a crime that we got no retrains besides the Haven one, and an appearance in an amulet card.
Yeah. That is true.
That's actually messed up that we never got Ektar back.
I am noticing a pattern with these comments is that so far everyone's suggesting iconic characters, but for some reason, very few of the Resurgent cards they picked are iconic at all. Most of them are little who's.
The name of the expansion is Resurgent Legends. These guys aren't legends, man. They resurged a bunch of Fumega lulls and was like, yeah, here you go.
The only actual legends I feel like were maybe Moon and Sun and Dark Alice, then everyone else is literally who.
Yeah, I agree. That was from Twitter. Now moving on to the YouTube comments from Fang Lang Shun. We need to get Deus Ex Machina, the OG artifact portal. Nothing Artifact has done since Deus matched the rush that Deus gave as you navigate each turn as fast as you can until you have to dump your hand and move quite a bit closer to deck out.
Yeah, this guy's speaking my language.
Didn't Cyclical Fate just cycle out? you
guys remember they reprinted Deus Ex Machina, nerfed the deck, and then gave Artifact nothing until it suddenly got good again a month before Deus Ex Machina rotated out.
Oh yeah.
Anko, your voice is full of venom, and it's really funny to me.
Every time I think of Artifact, it's just, ooh, ooh.
Oh, I'm so mad. All right.
Please save them before the end of the game.
Here we have another response from Zerael252. Heavenly Knight and Heavenly Aegis for sure. Cards that feature amazing art of divine armors and knights were what got me into the game and main Haven class to this day. In the current rotation, only Divine Minister fits my taste, and I would love to have more.
I thought
Heavenly
he was
Knight
gonna-
was my pick for a Resurgence Haven card as well. He was awesome back in the day.
Yeah,
One
with
of the most-
Summit Temple. That was sick. That was sick.
That was an awesome deck. I loved that.
It's a very,
That was
very creative
different.
deck too. Like using your
Yeah.
HP as attack is very cool.
You know, based on this user's name, I almost thought he was gonna say Resurgent Zerael.
Zerael's still in the game right now. I want another one. No, but I agree with Heavenly Knight. Aegis is kind of lame, but Heavenly Knight I agree with. Bring back Heavenly Knight.
Every Knight is based, yeah. Do you remember that one time they reprinted Summit Temple?
And nobody used it because it had no support.
It was dead. Yeah.
They reprinted the amulet itself. It's the only time they've ever directly reprinted a gold card like that. And then they gave it nothing.
All right, moving on to the Discord responses. From Thunderbolt, I'd be beyond excited to see a resurgent version of XIV Luzin Temperance. It was a pity how competitively unviable he was compared to how interesting he was in terms of flavor and mechanics and artwork. He wasn't very good, of course, but I loved playing him in Wrath, Avarice Control, even Mono. I know it's unlikely that Cygames will reprint a Fortune's Hand Arcana-themed card over something that's less thematically specific, though. That's a good point. Like, Fortune's Hand sort of comes as a set. Feels weird to
Yeah,
imagine
it's
like they would come as
self-contained.
individual reprints, right? Or resurges rather.
And you've got to say, Fortune's Hand had one of the best aesthetics they've ever printed. And I hate Arcana.
It's actually a shame. Like, a lot of the Fortune's Hand cards, a lot of the Arcana cards were not even that good. They were all really,
Like the
really cool, but
Tower.
only a couple of them were competitive.
I can't even remember his name. That Dragoncraft card that just banished half your deck.
People play that to get
And,
get whales out, remember?
Well,
Uluan, the Chariot, one of the coolest cards they ever printed, and I beat Igni in a best of 3 all legendaries because his Uluan killed him twice.
He's still
Oh,
talking
let's
about this.
go.
This has been like 3
Yeah,
years since
it
we
was
did
one
this.
of the best wins of my career.
You
Dude,
didn't even do
every-
anything. It was my Uluan that killed me.
Yeah,
Ev-
it was awesome.
Yeah, Uluan is one of my
Every
favorite
time-
cards. It's very funny.
every time I see Uluan in Take Two All-Stars, I gotta pick it.
Same.
You gotta pick it.
Hell
You
yeah.
gotta. Speaking about Luzin itself, do you have any thoughts about the actual card that the viewer picked?
I don't even
Oh,
remember which one
so
that
true.
was.
Luzin is the blood one with the
Bloodcraft
wings on his
Hive
head.
Reduced your opponent's maximum HP each time you take damage. So very similar to Bloody Mary,
Except permanent.
just better.
Oh,
significantly better.
losing, more like loser. Am I right? Haha, I'm the first to make that joke. Okay, but yes, the card design for this guy was pretty sick, actually.
Yeah,
I
he-
did
yeah,
try playing
very,
this guy a
very
couple
different.
times.
He looks great too, but the problem is like it sucked. So, but yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, the point that like they probably won't reprint or resurge an Arcana card because it comes in a set is a very interesting one. I wonder if that'll even be a consideration for them going forward, or
I mean, there isn't much forward ahead of us, is there?
well, we don't know, man. Maybe. I mean, honestly,
The-
and this is my actual theory.
theory-
The only forward might just be resurges from here on out instead of new sets. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
because after the next real expansion, after the last real expansion comes out, they could just occasionally
Resurge
resurge a
a few.
couple cards to keep the game a little bit fresh.
I agree. Also from Discord, we have Reki, Saphira for me. I always loved Maisha-like win cons where the game ends with a big follower with Storm, a quest that's inevitable but also stoppable. And I'd see how they'd upgrade Saphira to something playable or even usable in artifacts, considering its current playstyle is still a bit lacking. I just love big Storm followers hitting the board based on the amount of cards that have either left or destroyed and just going face. Big Storm guy, what do we think?
I cannot believe they never brought Saphira back. I cannot believe we never got another Saphira because she's a main character in Spinaria's lore. She's one of Spinaria's
Yeah.
best friends.
Doesn't she have
Very
like
cool.
12 billion arts in ROB as well?
She's actually a big deal in the lore. And dude, they brought Saphira in Shadowverse Flame, and she has the coolest scene ever.
I'm gonna have to watch Shadowverse Flame maybe before the next season comes out. Tonko, Kaylin, do you want to watch Shadowverse with me?
I mean, I plan to rewatch
it.
at some point anyway.
Yeah, it's only like 150 episodes.
And I'll record our reactions, and then I'll figure out how to make it into a video essay later.
Dude, even I haven't figured out how to turn my recordings into actual content
do my
yet.
best. And usually I only do 2 per platform, but there is a well-written one here from Discord. From Mock, Zebet, Lady of the Flies. I really liked that card art and character, but it was a shame how mid the card turned out in practice. While it did see play when it came out, it didn't seem to make much of an impact, and with the arrival of Arcus shortly after, Zebet faded from relevance. I'd like to see it be given a second chance, because I think the insect theme was a missed opportunity to make a new archetype. Although I doubt it'll happen at this point, I'd still be down to see Zebet become the boss card she first appeared to be.
Dude, Zebet was so hot.
Zebet is a very good character design, and the fact that she brought back the insects from Lord of the Flies was super cool.
Thorax, though.
And just, can you guys just... I gotta get new hosts, man.
Yo, I really did try to play Zebet back then, though. I tried my best to shoot her in whatever shadow deck, and it was really stinky, and I always got the wrong tokens, too.
Yeah, the RNG hurts.
I think I had a really good Take Two run with Zeb at one time.
The point about an insect archetype is kind of an interesting direction to take Shadowcraft that they didn't really explore, honestly, and it could have been cool to see that happen.
I'm a big fan of demon bugs. I was a Mega Colony player in Cardfight Vanguard.
They might have thought it was stepping on Forest theme a bit too much, but I think the Lord of the Flies insects were different enough.
Yeah, there's different types of... You can have, like, gross, nasty insects for Shadowcraft, and, like, fun, floral insects for Forestcraft. I think that's fine, right? That's it for the responses from the community. Before I end the segment, I gotta give my own response because last time I forgot to do that and had to record it in post. Nobody's seeing this as a surprise. But I want to research Zernitra original version.
No way!
All right?
Make her do something. Make her do anything.
Literally anything. Because the one time they retrained her, she still sucked. So, like... Help! And because Kaylin got to say 2 with his Heavenly Knight or whatever, I'm gonna say also print Jerva.
Didn't Yerva just get waifu beamed in Evolve?
Yeah, Jerva did get transformed into popular VTuber Nova Alchemy in Shadowverse Evolve.
Hell yeah.
Don't know what happened there. That's gonna be it for this episode, but first, make sure to answer next week's question of the week, which actually comes from one of you. Excelia on YouTube asks, what's the best expansion you ever played and why? We'll be talking about our answers to that question next week. You leave your responses in the comments down below, and maybe we'll read some out just like on this week's episode. But apart from that, that's going to be it from us. Stay tuned next week for another episode of Evolve Point from me, Kaylin, and Such Patanko, and you can also find our socials in the description. Any last words?
I'm going to sleep.
Last words, summon Dark Alice.
Okay. I need to find new hosts, man.